Another day, another report, and what a surprise that UK borrowing costs have added pressure to Rachel Reeves. Why is that? Because she has borrowed £20 billion in June, and that was 6.6 billion more than anyone expected. It's the second highest June borrowing cost on record since 1993. The only time that has ever been exceeded was when everyone was told to stay at home, right? So now we are massively overspending because we are borrowing a huge amount of money to cover that spending because the tax take isn't high enough. Why is the tax take not high enough? Because apparently, according to this report, income tax receipts are down. Why is that? Why is that, Rachel? Mainly because you have increased the tax that goes on employers employing people. Yeah? So eventually, those employers that are now having to pay increased taxes to employ people have suddenly gone, it's not worth employing people anymore. And they've got rid of them. And that is such a sad state of affairs for both the people that are impacted by that on an individual level because they've lost their job, and then everyone else in the economy. Because now, your stupid policies have made everyone poorer. Because now, everyone's going to have to pay for that debt at interest levels of 5.5% on that 20 billion. So that is probably around £1 billion of interest that we are now paying in order to fund you because you raised employers' national insurance and other taxes on businesses that they can't sustain. So businesses are going out of business, people are losing their jobs, and therefore that means that income tax receipts are down. And so therefore the vast majority of the money that you need to run the government isn't coming in anymore. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And what's going to happen is that in October, she's going to come back again and she's going to say, we need to raise taxes again. And she promised in October last year that this was going to be a once in a parliament budget and that she was only going to raise taxes enough to sustain everything for the next 5 years. And she's fudged it in 12 months. 12 months. It's gone. And she said that there was a £22 billion black hole that they inherited, and there's not a lot of evidence for that. But yet she then raised taxes by £40 billion to cover that black hole and give herself some fiscal headroom, which basically means there's more in the budget than you're actually spending. But unfortunately, now it looks like that by the time she comes back in October, there's going to be another 20 to £25 billion gap. And she's going to have to raise taxes to cover it. Because unfortunately, she can't cut spending because the Labour government refused to cut anything. So she's going to come back for more tax rises and it's going to impact more and more people. And all you're going to keep seeing is that in the same way that they're now increasing taxes on employers that has resulted in suddenly employers not employing anyone, it's going to happen again. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We are heading towards an economic catastrophe. Genuinely, this is worrying. Like really worrying. And I don't really know where we go from here because they just seem so hell-bent on this ideology that is just destroying the economy. And they can see it with evidence in their own eyes. But the way that they see it is, well, we're just not going hard enough. Let's just go harder. And it's going to lead to absolutely devastating consequences. I'm really worried now, genuinely, that this is going to lead to an absolute collapse. But I don't know. Seems like they don't care. Let's just tax some more. See what happens.
Well, just possibly not quite as bad as it looks today. I mean, as you were just saying, borrowing in June was worse than expected. I mean, £3.5 billion worse. And that is, of course, on top of the savings that Rachel Reeves thought she was going to get by restricting winter fuel payments and benefits, which she won't now get. And, of course, Victoria's just setting out some of the spending pressures in health, for example. But, look, these monthly numbers are highly volatile. And if you look at the first 3 months of the year, you do get a slightly different picture. So you can see that here, since April, the government has borrowed £57.8 billion. Now, if I show you what the official forecasters were expecting for that period, exactly the same number, 57.8. It is still a huge amount of money, but it is not worse than expected. Now, that's not necessarily the most visually gripping graphic we've ever shown people, but the Chancellor won't care about that so long as borrowing is not running ahead of what she thought it would be.
So does that mean speculation about tax rises is going away?
No, because I think it's not driven by the monthly figures or even the 6 billion of savings that she was hoping to get. I think the big issue here is whether the official economic forecaster, the OBR, lowers its expectations about how fast our economy can grow, not just this year, but next year and the year after, and so on, because slower economic growth tends to mean lower tax revenues. And city forecasters reckon that if they do change that very critical forecast, then Rachel Reeves could be looking for around about £20 billion to stick to her fiscal rules this autumn, most of that coming in higher taxes.
And yet, at the same time, there still is £38 billion to spend on the new nuclear plant at Sizewell.
Yeah, and that's because that's investment spending, which the Chancellor has been protecting. So today we've got the green light for this new nuclear reactor in Sizewell, which the government today said would be a major boost for energy security and economic growth. But I think the £38 billion figure will face scrutiny because the reality is that the nuclear industry has had a long history of problems with cost control. I just want to show you, there's a power plant, identical one, currently being built out in Hinkley Point. The budget there started at £18 billion. It's currently heading to around about £35 billion. It's also running 5 years late. And the Sizewell C project, initially the budget was thought to be £20 billion. Well, today we've heard it's probably looking like 38. And by the way, the taxpayer has taken a 45% stake in that project. So if costs do overrun, it's the taxpayer who'll be on the hook.
Hi guys, so welcome to this YouTube channel where we bring you legit stories of things that are happening in the diasporas. So on this channel we do not bring fake news, we don't condone in bringing fake news, so everything that is said is true and legit. So according to that last video that you just watched, that said UK government borrowed nearly 21 billion naira in June, just in June. And me, I'll always ask for you guys' opinions before anything. But in my opinion, I did not even know that they do borrow money in, I think this thing is only related to Nigeria and all that. So UK borrowing 21 billion naira pounds is something that is so is a shocking surprise to me, because okay, I understand that if it is Nigeria, that okay, most Nigerians they don't pay tax. Yes, they collect tax too, but with all the tax they are collecting in the UK, why are they borrowing that huge amount of money? That is what people are asking. If you check for clips and videos on TikTok or Instagram, you will see in the comment section that people are like, okay, what our taxes, where are those taxes going? Some are even saying, oh, they've used the tax for immigrants, that they've given immigrants benefits and all that their money is not enough and they have to borrow despite paying taxes. That how some whites be, they're like, oh, the taxes they are paying, they are using it to provide benefits for immigrants in their country, and then their country is now swimming in debt. So that is what some of the comments are saying. If I can get some comments, screenshots, I'll definitely put it up here. But even UK citizens, the whites, they are surprised that why is the government borrowing up to this amount of money? That what are they doing with the money? Why would they borrow that kind of money? That okay, there's no change in cost of living and everything, but the government keeps borrowing money and all that. Some people have 1 or 2 cents to give. Some people have, everybody with their own opinion. So I would like to know you guys' opinion in the comment section regarding this story and this news. I would like to know you guys' opinion, and please drop them respectfully. So now my own is, okay, the UK, they pay tax a lot. So where is the tax going into? Just like others say, is it really going to the immigrants? Are immigrants taking benefits, which is making the UK government crumble in debt, like some people are saying? So I would like to still know your opinion on that. That Is it really true that they've spent all the taxes of the citizen on immigrants, on giving immigrants benefits, that they are now in debt? So as some people are saying in the comment section, that is what some are saying in the comment section, and I would like to know you guys' opinion. And that's my own 1 or 2 cents on this particular story, because me, I'm confused. When I saw that story, when I saw the news that the UK government borrowed 21 billion pounds, I'm like, a whole 21 billion. And maybe there is a project they want to start, or there's a project they are working towards, probably. And that's just my own opinion on it. So I would like to know your own opinion. Yeah, so that is that on this video. Please, if you know you've not followed this channel, please do well to follow, like, and share for more videos. Thank you, and bye bye.